I took legal action against my sister-in-law after she tampered with my pregnancy medication, because I refused to name my baby after her ex, my husband Luke 29M, and I 29F, are expecting our first child. After years of heartbreak with infertility, learning that I was pregnant felt like a miracle. Unfortunately, what should have been the happiest season of my life quickly turned into a nightmare because of my sister-in-law, Leela, 34F. Leela has always had a messy past. She went through a divorce after cheating on her husband Joe with his brother. Joe eventually moved on and remarried, but Leela never truly let go of him. She clung to the idea that Joe was still family, even though their marriage had ended. At first, Leela appeared genuinely excited about my pregnancy. I assumed she was just thrilled about becoming an aunt. But her enthusiasm took a strange turn. She kept suggesting baby names, except every single one was connected to Joe. I politely explained that Luke and I had already decided not to name our child after anyone in the family. We wanted a name that was unique and meaningful to us. Leela seemed upset, but I thought she would eventually understand. Instead, she doubled down, sending me long lists of name suggestions, all variations of Joe's name, insisting it would honor the family. I drew firm boundaries, but she refused to respect them. Then things became alarming. I had a minor complication during pregnancy, and my doctor prescribed medication. Leela offered to pick it up from the pharmacy for me. I didn't think much of it at the time and agreed. The next day, after taking the pills she gave me, I became dizzy and violently ill. Luke rushed me to the ER, where doctors discovered the medication wasn't what I had been prescribed. It was a much stronger dosage that could have seriously harmed me and my baby. At first, I assumed it was a pharmacy mistake. But then I remembered Leela was the one who had picked up the prescription. I called her hoping she might have noticed something unusual. Her response left me speechless. She laughed, actually laughed, before admitting she had intentionally chosen a higher dosage. She said it was payback for me refusing to name my child after her ex. Then she tried to justify it by saying she thought the stronger dose would help me. I was horrified. She didn't grasp how reckless and dangerous her actions were. Only after I told her that what she did was illegal and could have killed me or my child did she give me a half-hearted apology. But it felt insincere. That was the moment I knew I had no choice but to act. After discussing it with Luke, we decided to report her. We filed a police report, documented everything, and told her we would be pressing charges for tampering with my medication. I hoped that facing legal consequences would finally make her realize how serious this was. But the fallout has divided the family. Leela has been portraying herself as the victim, insisting she only wanted to help. Some relatives say we're overreacting and that we should have handled it privately. But I cannot excuse what she did. Tampering with prescription medication, especially during pregnancy, is dangerous. Good intentions don't erase the fact that she put me and my baby at risk. Still, the family's criticism has left me second-guessing myself. Am I wrong for taking legal action against my sister-in-law for endangering my health just because I wouldn't name my baby after her ex? Update 1. Hi everyone, thank you so much for all the kind words and concern for my health. I'm doing much better now. My doctors have kept a close eye on me, and I'm back on my original medication that's safe for my pregnancy. I wanted to share an update because things with Leela have taken some unexpected turns. She called me not long after my last post to apologize. At first, I wanted to believe she was sincere. But the more she talked, the more obvious it became that she wasn't truly sorry. She kept brushing it off, saying I should understand, she only wanted to help. Then I started hearing from family members that Leela had been spreading lies behind my back. She was telling people that my baby wasn't Luke's, that this was the real reason I refused to give the child a family name. I was furious. Not only had she endangered my pregnancy, now she was spreading vicious rumors that could destroy my marriage. When I confronted her, she tried to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, claiming she didn't mean it that way. But this is her pattern. She always minimizes her actions and shifts the blame to someone else. Luke and I decided we needed to set the record straight. He personally called relatives to explain that Leela was lying and that she was trying to cover for her own behavior. Some relatives supported us, but others accused us of creating drama. This has left me feeling like I'm fighting a war on two fronts, protecting myself and my baby from Leela's reckless behavior, while also trying to defend my marriage against her lies. It's exhausting, but I refuse to let her manipulate the narrative. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and unfortunately, things have only escalated. My pregnancy has become high risk, and I've been put on bed rest. I'm supposed to avoid all stress, but Leela seems determined to make that impossible. Luke has been my rock through all of this. He supports me daily and shields me from as much drama as possible. After watching me suffer for months, he and his parents confronted Leela directly, warning her to stop spreading lies or risk being cut off from the family entirely. Instead of backing down, she doubled down, claiming we were overreacting and painting herself as the victim. Then things turned scary. One afternoon, I was resting in bed when I heard loud banging at our front door. Before Luke could even answer, Leela barged inside, screaming at me and accusing me of tearing the family apart. I was terrified. Luke immediately stepped between us and forced her to leave, but I realized then just how dangerous this situation had become. We knew we needed stronger protection, so we decided to pursue a restraining order. Our lawyer advised us to start gathering evidence of everything Leela had done, tampering with my meds, spreading rumors, barging into our home, and making threats. We documented everything. Meanwhile, Leela kept spreading vile lies about me to relatives. Some family members insisted we were being too dramatic by getting the law involved, but others finally started to understand that Leela was out of control. I'm trying to focus on staying healthy for my baby, but the constant stress is overwhelming. Still, I know that pursuing legal protection is the right decision. Update 3: a few weeks later, we finally received the restraining order against Leela. But before that, things got even worse. She emailed me directly, threatening both me and my unborn baby if I went through with the restraining order. The message was full of cruel words, blaming me for ruining the family and threatening consequences if I didn't back down. I was terrified, but also furious. How could she believe it was acceptable to threaten a pregnant woman? Luke insisted we save the email as evidence, and our lawyer agreed. We presented it in court, and thankfully the judge granted the restraining order. It was a huge relief, but I still feel uneasy. Leela has shown over and over again that she doesn't respect boundaries. Even with the order in place, I worry she'll try something again. Friends who still speak with her told us she's been telling everyone that we're overreacting and trying to turn the family against her. It's exhausting to know she's still twisting the truth, but I'm learning to focus on what really matters, keeping my baby safe. Update 4: the best news of all, our baby was born last month. We welcomed a healthy little boy named Neil, and holding him for the first time washed away so much of the fear and pain we've endured. But sadly, Leela's obsession hasn't stopped. Even after the restraining order, she showed up at our house shortly after Neil's birth. I was home alone with the baby while Luke ran a quick errand. Suddenly, I heard loud banging at the door. When I looked out, I saw Leela screaming and demanding to see her little Joe. She yelled that I was keeping her from her baby and threatened to call Child Protective Services if I didn't let her in. I was terrified, clutching Neil in my arms. I couldn't believe she had escalated to this point. I never wanted her showing up like that. My only priority was protecting my baby, and the fear I felt in that moment was overwhelming. I quickly grabbed my phone to call Luke, but before I could even hit send, I heard the door being forced open. She was inside. I had no idea how she managed it, but I could hear her shouting my name. In that instant, I felt completely helpless. All I could think about was keeping Neil safe. My body was still recovering from childbirth, but I steadied myself with a deep breath and hurried him into the bedroom, shutting the door firmly behind me. Leela kept yelling, her voice filled with anger. It was obvious she had no intention of leaving on her own. With no other option, I dialed 911. I told the dispatcher about the restraining order, explained that I was alone with my newborn, and that I was terrified for our safety. While I was on the phone, Leela began pounding on the bedroom door, screaming that she needed to see Neil. The desperation in her voice chilled me. Relief washed over me when I finally heard sirens outside. The police arrived quickly, and even then, Leela was still trying to force her way into the room. Officers pulled her back and attempted to calm her down. Only once they had her restrained did I open the door, still clutching Neil. I could see the officers speaking with her, but I stayed inside with my crying baby, trying to soothe him through the noise and chaos. My heart broke knowing he was being exposed to such turmoil so early in his life. The police explained that this wasn't the first time Leela had been in trouble. Neighbors had reported her for trespassing on multiple occasions. She'd even been arrested just 2 weeks earlier for drunk driving and had a number of unpaid fines. Learning this left me stunned. I hadn't realized how unstable things had become for her. That night, she was taken into custody for breaking the restraining order, and given her history, the officers treated it as a serious matter. For the first time in weeks, I finally felt like I could breathe again. Luke got home not long after and was alarmed to see police cars outside. He rushed in to check on me and Neil, and as soon as he saw we were safe, his face shifted from panic to anger. He couldn't believe Leela had crossed the line so blatantly, but he was grateful the authorities had stepped in. Since then, we've upgraded our security, new locks on every door, cameras installed around the house. I refuse to live in fear again. Word spread quickly through the family, and while many called to check on us, Leela once again tried twisting the story. She painted herself as the misunderstood aunt who just wanted to see her nephew, leaving out the threats, the intrusion, and the danger she caused. Friends who stayed in minimal contact with her later told us she was still spinning her version of events, insisting we were exaggerating and making her life miserable. But as more of her past came to light, those excuses fell flat. We eventually learned this wasn't her first brush with the law. She had a history of fraud and theft charges that relatives had swept under the rug to avoid embarrassment. Discovering this left us shaken, realizing just how much she had deceived us over the years. The more people learned about her background, the less sympathy she received. One by one, family and friends began distancing themselves from her. Instead of the pity she craved, she was met with disappointment and judgment. Now, Leela is cut off from nearly everyone who once gave her chance after chance. She's back in jail for her most recent offenses, and the truth about who she really is has become undeniable. As for Luke and me, we've made it crystal clear. We will never allow her near us again. She's burned every bridge, and we refuse to give her another opportunity to endanger our family. This whole ordeal has been painful and exhausting, but the relief of knowing she is finally out of our lives is immeasurable. With added safety measures and strong boundaries, we can finally focus on what matters most, raising Neil in a secure, loving home. For the first time in so long, there's peace. Our circle of supportive family and friends has been incredible, and it feels good to know everyone understands the importance of boundaries now. It hurts to accept that someone we once trusted turned out this way, but we've learned the hard truth. You protect your family at all costs, even if it means cutting someone out completely. Leela is no longer part of our story, and we're moving forward with hope. This experience has taught us to value our peace above everything else, and that's exactly what we intend to do. This will likely be my final update. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support. You reminded me I wasn't going crazy. Your words gave me strength during one of the hardest times of my life, and I'll always be grateful. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one. Backhand index pointing right.